Welcome, beautiful souls, and thank you for joining us today for another episode of Coming Home to You, a sacred space where truth, healing, and storytelling and heart-like conversation take center stage. And I am so excited today's guests that this is definitely more than a podcast. It's a place of movement. It's a movement that I would like for us all to really have in the forethought of our intentions as we move forward in 2025, a space to remember who we truly are beneath the noise, beneath the stories, beneath the pressure and the overwhelm and the roles and the expectations. So today, as we gather as women, I just want to invite all mothers and leaders and light bearers to join us as well. Each of us are walking our own path, and yet we are woven together with shared desires to come as a community, as ourselves, in more compassion and more courage and authenticity. So I invite you to take a deep breath with me. Feel it in your body. Feel your body. Feel your truth, what you're worth, because you do matter. This is your permission today to be fully seen, honored, and fully expressed as a powerful being that you are. There is no perfection here needed, just presence. Let this space of storytelling and soul remembering and sisterhood unite us all in oneness. And with that, let's begin. Welcome, Miss Jabin. Filza, it's so great to see you. You are such a force in the world, and I've had the honor and pleasure to have seen you blossom and bloom in the world as the powerful leader that you are, and you are definitely inspiring and supporting parents and children alike, and it's just really inspiring and motivating the work that you're doing out there. So I'm so grateful to have you here.
Thank
So I
you.
know that yes, I know you have a short time to be with us. So anytime you have to leave, we can have you exit. We do have another guest coming in as well. She's just running behind. So as soon as she comes in, she'll join the conversation. But I wanted to honor the time, everybody here today. So we're starting. All right. So the way this works is that I ask a couple questions and then you just share from your experience what comes up. And then we just kind of go round table. Maybe if you have something that comes up when Caitlin shares, you can add anything that opens up for you in that moment as well. And so with that being said, I wanted to ask you, was there a specific event or like a breakdown or a breakthrough that sparked your first awakening of coming home to yourself?
Yes, first of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me into this platform. I'm really honored to be here and getting this opportunity to
I
speak.
forgot to ask you to introduce yourself. Yes, I'm sorry.
Uh,
Okay, shake up.
yes, I first of all, I am a mother of three beautiful children, and I am a ADHD coach. Recently, I have discovered that ADHD is real power. So the breakthrough you're talking about in my life, past life, I had a lot of breakthroughs. And the biggest breakthrough I got when I realized that how powerful I am, if only I'm accepting myself and understanding what are all the blessings I have got instead of just chasing what others have and keep on comparing myself every passing day and doubting myself for not being for what I am not, what others are being. So, way back when I was really, really young, I was distracted, I was confused, I was doubting myself. And I was seeing whole world around me very much confused. very much distracted, busy in seeing what all they don't have. And I saw that I cannot make anything possible unless I see what are my resources, what am I blessed with. I cannot move forward unless I embrace my being and my resources. So yes, breakthrough kept on happening, and still it's happening. It's a never-ending journey of uh, evolving as a human being and keep on receiving my gifts.
I love what you shared. I made so many great notes. It is definitely, I love that your presence, that it's a never-ending journey, and that the first step that you took was stop comparing yourself to others, because I was creating doubt, and I was creating like a sense of separation. It feels like it's what I heard. And it was the biggest thing was accepting yourself as you are with your gifts and your blessings and your resources. And and to me, that is that a moment that you really started to uncover your worth, would you say?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. There was a time when I was never looking at myself, what I already have. The moment I joined leadership program, that was also one biggest turning point in my life, where I started seeing the world from other perspective and seeing from the perspective of abundance, of what all I have, and embracing my real being and really making it possible for me, because my dreams and desire was all set by people around me, because I chose to compare myself. I chose to constantly see what others are having and keep chasing for that. And the resources which I have right here in front of me was untouched. I shifted and started seeing what all my blessings, and started causing and creating from there.
Mm.
That was like around 5 to 6 years back, since I've joined this community of leadership and started working towards my growth from the place of abundance. Abundance for me is like whatever I have, seeing from the place of possibilities and love and courage. And it only came when I started accepting myself, embracing myself, my real being.
So once you embraced your whole being, and you came and started looking your life from a lens of possibility and abundance and love and courage, how did that feel in your body or in your heart, or what did you start doing differently because you started choosing yourself?
Well, that's a very interesting question. How I felt in my body, I started feeling full, like powerful. Like I started feeling that I'm flying.
Mhm.
I am understanding my steps and moving forward consciously. What I did differently was just shifted from fear to love and confidence. And that was a very big shift. I was, All my life, I was scared of being judged, scared of being wrong, scared of not getting what I want and what others want me to be, and trying to fit in. From there, I shifted to love and confidence, loving my own self, embracing what I'm blessed with, what is mine, and causing and creating from the place of confidence. So that shifted. Then everything in my life started shifting. Everything became possible. It became possible and it became so easy, as if it was all planned.
Wow. That's that's so interesting. I love how you pause there, you know. I am a big believer that life happens for us, and sometimes things that we might consider a challenge or a dead end or a door being closed, it's because it's not divinely aligned with what we really are here meant to be. And it's also because it's meant to teach us, I think, something in that moment. Like it's almost like it's saying, if you really want this, are you sure? I'm going to give you the opposite of that so that you can appreciate or understand the blessing of having the thing that you're really meant to have so that you can honor it and appreciate on a more deeper intense level. Would you say that that has been the case for you and how you started shifting? Because I saw you, I met you in the leadership program together, and I saw you in a place. You know, my experience was that, yeah, you were also like me, having self-doubt. And you came on my show the first time I did it in the holidays. And that was what gave you that springboard, is what the moments that I saw you say, wow, this feels amazing. And I can do it. I can do it messy. I could do it without really knowing fully. And I could just dive into my passion, the vision, right? And so you've done so much after that with children and working with autism, and there's such a need for that. A lot of people not understanding. And I love your approach on how the things that you've learned during the leadership, you incorporate in the work that and how you support parents and children to self-regulate and to understand deeper who they are and what their purpose is. Um, so with that, like how are you still navigating and healing through today when maybe self-doubt creeps in? Is that something that you still find yourself battling?
Yes, I won't say no that I'm not having self-doubt every single room when I'm entering. And if this new, I start doubting myself. I choose to doubt. I always use the word choose because life is full of choice. Whatever we want to choose, we get to choose that. And I choose to doubt myself. And when I'm choosing to doubt myself, I'm scared. Again, jumped back into my scarcity mindset. I'm not causing and creating abundance in the world. What takes me to shift is just a moment, a conscious practice, and coming back in the place of love and confidence and start allowing myself to fail 1,000 times and embrace being human because that's the way humankind learned the best. I can say that at the top of my voice that I am embracing my failures so that I can keep moving forward and keep causing and creating what I am supposed to. And when I am doubting myself, that's a perfect opportunity for myself to mirror on my way of being. What need is not met underneath, where I need to go and see and fulfill and come back with confidence, jump back and start causing and creating like bigger things in the world.
Mm,
Okay.
wow. That was just so beautiful. And the biggest thing there were so many beautiful things you said, and I think the biggest one that is important is allowing yourself to fail. Getting okay with failure is how we learn, is how we evolve, is how we grow. And then mirroring your way of being, what is not being met, what are you missing or lacking? What haven't you done for yourself? What is it? What's, like I love that you ask yourself those questions. And that's something that I took away also from the leadership program. Caitlin, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for having me here, Margarita.
Yes, it's great to have you.
Hello.
So
Yes.
was there anything from the share and the question that you did hear that came up for you that you'd like to share and just kind of jump in there?
Well, I gotta say I loved, is it Filza? Filza? Is that how you
Yes,
pronounce your
Filza.
name? Filza. Nice to meet you, Filza.
Nice
I
to
I
meet you,
loved
Caitlin.
I loved your response, and that's exactly what I have accepted within myself recently. And I would say just the concept of failure is such a big one. And recognizing it is okay. What it means is that you're trying and you keep doing it and you keep showing up. And and one thing that I've noticed with so I'm a mother of two. So I've got a 9-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son. And if you know anything about the 9-year-old shift, it's a big evolutionary point in the child's awareness of recognizing that life is not all about the fairy tale, that it is truly gritty, and it's the first true sense of independence that comes through, and yet it's the longing for the way it was when you were a baby, right? You still long to be held. You still long to be in that womb and in that space. And so witnessing, I've gotten really attuned to witnessing how these moments that I have struggled with and how it's showing up for my daughter and how that is becoming a complete mirror for me to be able to recognize and to take a step back and to voice those things that those words that I wanted to hear so badly as a
Mm.
child. And also, in some ways I did. Maybe I don't remember because, we have selective hearing, but but recognizing that it is okay to fail. But it's the way that you rise and you keep going and you keep putting that effort in that will allow for magic to happen. And so that, yeah, I would say that's just what I recognized within what Filsa was saying is very, um, yeah, very relatable.
I love that. I think one of the big things that stood out that I've learned, and I think it kind of says everything we talked about, is how to reparent yourself, giving yourself those things that you wanted as a child, being the love and support, being the unconditional love of yourself. And I think my biggest takeaway in my healing journey was to start off by giving myself grace, right? Like accepting that I wasn't broken. I was born whole, and it was just calling back those parts of me that I abandoned before. So, um, what was one of the most powerful lessons that you learned on your journey back? Like if you could see your younger self, what is that thing that really was the most poignant lesson for you?
Well, the biggest thing when I look back in my journey, the biggest thing which I never liked was boundaries. I never liked boundaries. I was hating boundaries. I was like resisting and I was rebelling against it. And when I look back now, being an adult, being a mother and a parenting coach and an ADHD coach, and I look back at those moments, me hating boundaries, resisting boundaries, from this place, I go and thank my boundaries and boundaries creator, because that was so necessary for me to grow. It was never only about love and support I was supposed to get. It was also about the boundaries. So that was one thing which was not pleasing me, yet that made me, stopped me, and carved me. Yes, it was hurting as a child, but I can see the benefit of it now and how much it is necessary as a mother for me to hold those boundaries for my children, even if I am a bad mother, even if I'm a bad person, even if they don't like it, how much it is necessary. As much as I'm giving love, I am supposed to hold the boundaries for that. So that's one thing I would like to talk about a lot. Boundaries. With love, with connection, boundaries are also necessary. As Kayleen said, she has 9-year-old, and this is a very crucial age for children to start exploring. So I've done a lot of research on Erik Erikson's 8 stages of psychosocial development. So in that, 9 years comes in under 4th stage of development. And in that stage, children are exploring the need, the urge of exploring things around them. And there comes the role of a parent. And sometimes it can be messy. Sometimes it can be really a big power struggle. But yes, we get to hold the boundary for them so that they can receive the world in a way that abundance comes only if we hold the boundary for ourselves and for our kids. So that's one thing which still comes in my mind. And still I can never be enough grateful about people who are creating these boundaries in my life.
Well, that's powerful, and I see your passion and your and conviction when you speak about boundaries. And I had, I think, a similar first reaction as a child as well. Boundaries felt like I was building a wall around my heart and pushing people out. And then I read a lot of Brene Brown's books, and I realized that boundaries are really just um, treating yourself with the same self-respect you treat others, that you would want others to treat you as well. You know, like it's just really setting that space of love, like you said. And I think when you come from love, when you come from is love, and to create that self-respect for yourself and the boundaries that are going to keep you grounded in who you are, right? Because when we don't have those boundaries, or when their boundaries are crossed, triggers and frustration and, you know, like friction and all that stuff starts to arise. So I love that your mission is to really kind of ground that boundaries are a good thing, that it's meant there for your peace, for your, you know, your own sanity and your self-love and self-respect. Anything come up for you, Miss Caitlin? Like, what was a main lesson that you learned as you come into yourself?
Yeah, I think for me, a big lesson, as I'm becoming more in tuned with myself, is the step that comes before creating those boundaries. And what that means to me is having the awareness to really honor what is showing up inside my body as the messages, as the tools. And uh, and like I said before, it's become very prevalent that this is part of my duty as a mother to guide my children to also honor, you know, these innate senses that we have, and listening to our bodies. And really, if there are moments when we need to surrender, that we allow that surrender to happen and that rest to happen. I know that in our culture, it is very go, go, go. And you have a responsibility to 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 fulfill your commitment with something, even if you don't feel like it's in alignment with who you are at the moment. And what I realized here, especially, is that letting that go, letting that old perspective of feeling like we have the responsibility to go beyond ourselves for somebody else when it's so terribly uncomfortable. And you know, for instance, if we do a certain activity and then we realize halfway through that it's not the right thing for us, you know, when we create, we tend to create this dogma with children that you have to do it and you got to see it through. And yes, there is a point that is really important that shows that creates conviction. However, when it's showing up in the body and it's creating the distortion within these little beings and their bodies, then I think it's really healthy to help them understand how to take a step back, rest, and listen to whether this is really what their body and their soul really wants. And and so guiding myself back to that as well, because I have a tendency to be pretty boundless and boundaryless. I have a very watery constitution, and you know, astrologically, even though my sun is in an earth sign, I have my rising in Pisces, my Venus in Cancer, and I have a few things in Scorpio, and so I'm a very watery individual. And so, because of that, I have a tendency to allow my energy to seep out into all these different directions. And I feel like I have an obligation to show up for people, even though I know that it's not the right thing for me. And so, that is still something I'm working on. However, I've gotten better at it. And part of it is I'm recognizing with my daughter, it's like, no, if this doesn't feel right to her, I'm not going to force it. And so, so anyway, it's a dance, but that has been one thing to show up. And to me, it feels like it's that precursor to creating those boundaries. Because once you figure out and listen to your body, then you are able to create those boundaries, those loving boundaries. Yeah.
I love what you said, Caitlin. It really gave all of us and the listeners like two actionable steps, right? It's like learn to stop, pause, rest, reset, listen to your body. What is she telling you? What is it in this moment? In this moment, you know, like just get in this moment, get in your body. And it's true, it's in those moments of you listening to you. Because I think what I heard too for what happens with me is looking for outside validation, other people's expectation, people pleasing, whatever it was that I would twist myself in a pretzel to fit in instead of just trusting, right, that I am whole and complete as I am and show up in my wholeness and in my truth and authenticity. And I think I didn't know who that was anymore after a while. You know, it's almost like you lose a part of you and a sense of your identity. This is why it's so important to start this conversation of what it looks like and how many people like are still in it. It's not a one and done. And I think, Filza, you said it earlier about it being a journey, right? Like letting go of the expectation of what it's supposed to look like. Don't compare yourself to other people. You don't know where they are in their journey. You don't know how much help and support that they have compared to you. Like just honor where you are and meet yourself there is the first step. And I love, Caitlin, that you grounded us in that. Um, so with that, was there anything that came up for you, Filza, that Caitlin shared? 'Cause I felt like you wanted to share something when she said that.
Yes, sure. I would love to say something here is like the way you're saying that like you're more like a watery. It's going with the flow. And I accept that. I embrace that. And I always invite everyone to embrace where you are. No need to shift anything. All we need is to come back in the present moment and consciously see who we are being and what we are causing and creating in the moment. Boundaries is often being misunderstood by everyone. It's something harsh. It's something which when we don't want. Boundaries comes with consciousness. When we are conscious in our present moment, we create boundaries around not just dragging ourselves back in the past and creating boundary around not just leaning forward, rather creating boundary and asking and bringing us back in the present moment and stay grounded in the present moment and take conscious step and move forward. At the same time, embrace failures. Embrace failures, because even if we are being conscious, we are going to make thousands of mistakes, because we are born leaders to cause and create some magic in this world. So just accept your way of being and just embrace everything and let the boundary come in with grace, with love, and with authenticity by being in the consciously being in the moment. I hope I'm able to make you all understand what I'm trying to say is
Totally.
it's not harsh. It's not harsh. It's been misunderstood, because when I'm working with kids who has ADHD, parents who has kids with ADHD, they often judge themselves. They believe that they're not enough. They are not as amazing as they are supposed to be. They're constantly comparing themselves, and there comes the boundary of not comparing yourself with others. Being in yourself, embracing your way of being, and lead from the place of power. You get to own the power and
I
lead
love,
from that.
yes, that's beautiful. Like talking about, labels. I think a lot of the times there's expectations and misconceptions, right, when we label ourselves or when we get labeled. And the important thing is to know, like, you have the power, right, to reinvent yourself in every given moment. And that's the beauty of where we are. It's like, just because you were this version, right, this version of you just a moment ago or a day ago, doesn't mean that you need to bring that person forward. Like, it's just giving yourself that grace, that courage to fail, right? You have my permission to fail, guys. Everybody here is giving you permission to fail. And I think the biggest, best leaders out in the world look forward to create, a failure. Maybe they don't look forward to it, but they welcome it because they understand what didn't work, and it actually helps them kind of just narrow more deeper onto the message and their purpose and how to help on a grander, uh, more powerful. Would you say that you agree with that statement? All right. Well, as we bring this call to a close, I wanted to ask you one last question. If you can give one word to the women or the children or the young kids out there who are on their journey of rising, coming home to themselves, what's one word that that means coming home to you, and what it feels like right now?
One word is you are powerful. That's one thing I would like to give it to everyone, because in this whole life, I can see each and every individual owning something or the other power, and world is waiting for that power. You get to own that power in order to serve the world. You will be responsible for not owning it and not offering it to the world. So I always tell everyone that you are powerful. Just own your power and offer these power to the world because you're meant for bigger things. So that's one thing. Own your power. Own your power. Whatever it takes, 1,000 failures, 1,000 self-doubt, judgment, no matter what happens, just own your power and get ready to receive. When we learn to receive, we dare to share. Unless we are receiving, we cannot share. We can never share unless we open up to receiving. So start receiving and just keep sharing, keep promising the world because it's waiting for you.
When you open up to receive, you can share generously. Ah, I love that.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
love all of that. Yes, own your power. Caitlin?
The one that's coming up most recently is authenticity. And what that means is to me, because the vibration of the word authenticity, from what I understand, is even higher than love. And so, um, I work with women and children and some men as well with working with their voices. That's my thing. And what I utilize is singing and toning and utilizing old world songs from cultures from throughout the world, songs that I've carried from everywhere. And one thing that I find is that when we start to strip away all of these labels, like we've said, and what we are left with is just where we are at a soul level and that authentic expression that comes from it, our voices become stronger. We are able to heal ourselves. We are more equipped to healing ourselves when the energy is moving through our body in an authentic way. I recently had a lovely moment. So I live in New Mexico and I was passing through Santa Fe, New Mexico, where we used to live. And I was driving and I saw one of my favorite old friends who happens to be homeless. And he's just this incredible being. And sometimes the wisest things can be told from the most unassuming individual, right? And it's like, whoa, there was something in that he knew somehow that I needed to hear. And the thing was that he said to me, he's older, and he said to me he had been nearing dying several times within the past year. And intuitively I felt it. I was like up where we are now in the forest. I could just feel I was wondering where he was. And he said to me he was going through all of these processes of being close to dying and recognizing all of these stories, all of these individuals that he was told he needed to be as a child, that he was told he needed to do, who he thought he was, and all the anger and the resentment and the fear that came along with it of not being able to be his authentic self. And then what I saw within the moments that I had with him there was that it just all peeled away. And what we had left was this man who probably had some of the most horrific trauma in his childhood. I don't know, but it felt like it. But he was just standing there and sitting there in his truth and in his power, like Filza said, but in a way that was so serene. And that surrender that comes with it, of when you know that you are able to express yourself authentically. And that, to me, it feels like when we get to that point, it's just it's just the joy of living. And what comes from that is the capacity to receive anything that is of the highest good for you. So, Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that you tied the back of also, being able to receive. And I love how you tied it in at the end there. So a lot of beautiful story. Thank you so much.
Hmm.
Um, well, I just want to thank you so much for sharing your hearts with us today and your stories and your wisdom. It was such a beautiful reminder that we're never alone on this journey and of remembering and reclaiming and rising into our truth and who we are. So, some of the things that came up as a reminder for the call today is to learn to accept yourself, seeing your blessings, knowing that you're resourceful, stripping away the armor of the expectations that others have on you and that you've put upon yourself. Don't compare yourself because that creates doubt, strips away at your confidence. Um, and you're never alone on this journey. It's a journey of you ever evolving. And so give yourself grace and a permission to fail. And the boundaries are not set there to put people away. It's to give you the self-respect and the self-love so that you can show up, so that you can start receiving the love because your cup is full. And remembering to let it go and to surrender and rest and pause and come back to yourself. What is missing? What need is not being met in that moment? Just love yourself, fill yourself up. If you have to reparent yourself, give yourself the things as the young self wanted. Be that for your inner child. Use your voice. Authenticity is higher than love. Be it. Be authentic in who you are because you're powerful. So own your power. So remember, coming home to you is not a destination, it's a devotion. So choosing yourself again and again and again, even when it's messy, especially when it's messy. So may we all leave this space today a little more graceful with our purpose, a little more softer in our hearts, and deeper connected to who we are and who we're becoming and our true authentic selves. So to every woman listening out there, your story matters. Your healing is sacred and your light is needed in the world. So until next time, please keep coming home to yourself. I'm Margarita Rose, your host for today. Thank you, Filza and Caitlin, for being here today. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.